What's up, guys? Welcome to Bet the Day for April 29th, our first show here on the Team Parlay Network. Hope everyone's doing well and hope everyone's ready to make some money. Already got the commenters in the comment section. Terry Saltzman has arrived. The dog has arrived. TJ Salt Dog Picks, guys. If you don't know him, go check him out on YouTube. One of the best cappers out there. Hey, Terry, pretty big time capper in the Midwest, right, man? We follow you a lot here at the channel. I've been watching you for a while, so appreciate you joining us, guys. Welcome to Bet the Day. This is a brand new show here on Team Parlay, guys. We're talking all betting stuff. We're going to be joined by a guest, Grant Mitchell, in a little bit here, writer for the Sports 2.0 Network, along with Sons of Saturday, which is kind of like the Barstool of Virginia Tech. So very excited about that. Big NBA guy. That's what he focuses on over at the Sports 2.0 Network. So going to do a lot of things here. Going to have a couple segments, duds of the day, the teams that let us down most in betting, along with best bets. And as usual, we're going to break down the big NBA game tonight between the Grizzlies and the Timberwolves. So we'll start with a recap from yesterday. Yesterday was it was a good day. 4-2 on the day for picks, but basketball-wise, a lot of teams got closed out. The door got shut on a lot of teams, so that was good to see. Sixers absolutely dominated the Raptors. We took Sixers minus 1.5. That was a huge, huge win for us. I mean, a lot of people were saying this Sixers team was going to be the New York Yankees of 2004. Now, I will throw a lot of shots at the Yankees on here because I am a Red Sox fan. I got the Padres jersey on for their big win over the Reds yesterday, but a lot of people were saying the Sixers team was going to be that New York Yankees of 2004. They were going to go up 3 games and they were going to lose 4 straight. Did not happen, right? Did not happen. They shut the door last night. They won by 35 points. The biggest storyline going into last night was Doc Rivers. Doc Rivers was unable to close out a series in 7 of his past 8 tries as a head coach. He did it last night. 35-point win. Embiid had dropped 33 with an injured hand. That was great to see. Big night for him. Comments rolling in here. Guy LaDouche. Payday came early yesterday. Yes, it did. Yes, it did. We had a huge day, 4-2, and I know the coach had a big day as well. But NBA, we swept the board 3-0 there, so recapping it now. But just an awesome job by the Sixers. I was a little nervous going to that game because, you know, anytime a team goes up 3-0, they lose 2 straight. Then I saw ESPN writing articles about, this is the first time it's going to happen in the NBA. We're going to have the four game sweep after going down 3-0. It didn't happen. It did not happen. Toronto didn't look good last night. The Sixers were a better team. And I said the whole entire series. I'm like, this is a better Sixers team. If they come out, if they play their game, they're going to be just fine. And that's exactly what happened last night. So that was good to see. But Embiid came through with 33 points. So that was huge. The next game, Chris Paul returning home to New Orleans. Suns winning 115-109. Now, I was watching this game live down the stretch. It did not look like the Suns were going to cover 2.5. And then they just had a little spurt there where they got hot. Devin Booker made a big three down the stretch there, but Chris Paul was storyline tonight, 14 of 14 on his shots on his way to 33 points. Now, I'm sure a lot of bettors did not take the over on his point total. I'm sure a lot didn't because he was pretty trashed for the series, but last night he stepped up big. First player to make 14 of 14 shots in a playoff game. That was huge. He was emotional after the game because he played for the New Orleans Hornets back in the day. And he was sensational last night. No other way to describe it. He made money for us. Like, we need to thank Chris Paul. Devin Booker returning, though, was also huge because he took a lot of attention away from Chris Paul, which allowed him to open up. Like, when Devin Booker wasn't in the series, no doubt in my mind, Chris Paul had a tough time. I mean, they were pressing him up the floor. They were making him tired. And he didn't have that last night. He was able to excel, and that's why they got the win. So that was big. They closed the series out there. This Pelicans team, though, like the fans gave them a standing ovation at the end of the game, and they deserved it because, I mean, they're going to be really, really good in the future. They are going to be so good. Once they get Zion back, this team's young, and they're aggressive, and they went toe-to-toe with the Western Conference, with the reigning Western Conference champs last night. So that was big to see. Suns in 4. Remember that storyline. Got a lot of people on here, guys. How we doing? Erwin Alvarado. How we doing, Erwin? How'd the bets go yesterday? We're here. Got to love that. And then Mavericks. Now, we're going to talk about series prices a little bit for the Western Conference semifinals coming up when Grant joins the show. But the Mavericks have been disrespected already. They are plus 220 with their series price right now. I am hammering that because this team is built different with Luka on the floor. And I'm going to talk about the Jazz right now. The Jazz blew it. The Jazz had every opportunity to win the series. You didn't have Luka on the floor for the majority of these games. And when he comes back, this team just plays different. I mean, he was sensational last night. Dropped 24 points, 8 assists. Donovan Mitchell was also really, really good, 23 points, 9 assists, but at the same time, too, didn't get the job done. I mean, this Jazz team did not help Mitchell out. I mean, the Mavericks been really, really good. Jalen Brunson's really, really good again. Three-pointers made the difference. Mavs shot 15% better from three-point land. That's what made the difference last night because they were out-rebounded. They got beat up in the paint, but when it came down to it, three-point shots won the game. It was only a 98-96 game, but still, same thing. There we go. Forrest Brown checking in. Nader 912. How we doing, Nader? How we doing, guys? Forrest Brown. I'm taking Mavs 220. That's a great bet. I can't believe they've been that disrespected. Brunson stepped up. Brunson was so good this series. It was unreal. He really stepped up in times when Luka wasn't on the floor. And when Luka is on the floor, this team is just absolutely built different. It's a different mentality. It's a tough mentality. It's a defensive mentality. I mean, he's going to do whatever it takes to win. So that was awesome to see. So keep going here. We have quick baseball recap here. We don't need to spend too much time on it because we got 100 and a million more games left this season. Luka Mini. I don't know if he's Luka Mini, but he's pretty damn good. Luka Mini might be a little bit of a stretch, but I love the comparison there. Hey, congrats on the big day there, Nader, yesterday. Congrats on the big day. Bryce Wempa coming in, Mavs in 4. Gotta love that. Unstoppable when he gets 2 feet in paint. Yeah, I agree with that. 100%. Mavs in 4. It'd be cool if we got Mavs Celtics. I think that would be really cool. A lot of people with 3-team parlay are big Mavs guys. So I'm the Boston guy in the group. Baseball recap here. Just decent day in baseball. 1-2. It should have been 2-1. But the Astros, they entered the 9th inning up 3-1 against the Texas Rangers. We needed a run line. They gave up 1 run. We didn't hit our run line bet. But I will say I'm confident in this Astros team that they're going to figure out moving forward. And that's a team that I used to hammer. So we should be good there. They won 3 of 4 in the series over Texas. Martin Perez was perfect through 6 innings yesterday for the Rangers. So I give this team a lot of credit that they were able to pull out a 3-2 win when their opposing pitcher was perfect through 6 innings. Padres were even money yesterday. I got the Padres jersey on because of their big win over the Reds. They were even money yesterday. Even money, people. Against the Cincinnati Reds, a 3-win team. I was scrolling through Twitter, and everyone's like, "Oh, this is the biggest trap line of the year. I'm going to go with the Reds because they're going to show up tonight." Like, no, the Reds have won three freaking games, guys. Like, I'm going to bet against the Reds. I'm going to bet against the Reds today because I'm going to bet against every single team that plays. Or I'm going to bet against the Reds in every single game until they prove to me they can win. They haven't been able to do that at all, guys. Forrest Brown, happy Luka. We're going back to Luka there. I love your background. Gotta love it. But yeah, it's unreal, guys. It's unreal that people were actually relying on the Reds yesterday. The Padres at -102 was the move. They were even money at one point. They won 7-5. It was a battle. Hatsan Kim broke the Reds back with a bases clearing double, but at the same time, too, the Reds know how to lose. So why are we going to go with the Reds? Terry's coming in here. Reds are terrible. Yes, they are, Terry. They're horrendous. They're absolute dog water. Dog water. I found that word out a couple years ago. Or not a couple years ago. Dog water. I started to use it. Duds of the day. So there's one dud that I have today, and it's a team that I have a pet peeve with, Milwaukee Brewers. I have a big issue with Milwaukee Brewers. I had the over 7.5 in their game yesterday. These teams scored a combined 20 runs, the Pirates and the Brewers, 2 days ago. They dropped the ball again the day before, or yesterday. And then yesterday, they made Jose Quintana look like Jacob deGrom, a healthy Jacob deGrom. Jose Quintana had a 6.43 5. He was horrendous. Every time Jose Quintana took the mound, and Grant can attest to this, I would bet the over when Jose Quintana was on the mound. I did it yesterday, and Jose Quintana had 9 strikeouts on 78 pitches. It was embarrassing. It was freaking embarrassing, guys. Brewers have struck out the sixth most in baseball this year with 175. The Orioles lead it, not by much. The Brewers are right up there. It's amazing they're finding ways to win. Because their pitching staff is going to calm down this year. Sound off. Let's see. Unmute. Give me a second, guys. Sounds terrible. Sound is off. Static and back. Give me a second. Audio here. Loop back. How's that, guys? You hear me better now? Let me know in the comments. Hear me better? Good. Awesome. Yeah, something happened there. We glitched out. But anyways, the Brewers are horrendous. I'm done with them. Okay, so we'll keep going here. And then Andrew McCutchen, too. I have a problem with you. You watched a strikeout looking 90 miles an hour right down the middle by Jose Quintana yesterday, and that was a problem. All right, so we got Grant Mitchell in the waiting room, guys. Very happy he could join us. Grant is a content specialist for the Sports 2.0 network. There we go. We're good. If that hit 7.5, would have been Elon Musk. There we go. If that 7.5, I would have been Elon Musk. There we go. We're good. Ashland Coffee. Yes. Cool. Okay. So sounds back. Grizzlies, Timberwolves, guys. Grant Mitchell joining me right now. Mainly an NBA writer for the Sports 2.0 network. One of my good buddies in this industry. Big basketball guy. So very, very happy to welcome him to the show. Grant, how you doing, my man?
I'm doing good. I'm a little zoomed in. Jeez, I don't want to be taking up your shine. I feel like I'm already 5 seconds in. I'm taking over here. How you doing, Tanner?
I'm doing good, Grant. You know what? Long time no see. How's basketball betting been for you?
Oh man, I'm not gonna lie, it was pretty frustrating. Even though, in this world we talk about sports betting an awful lot, I was not overly active in the playoffs. I bet on 2 games. I got them both wrong. And in all of the other games through the first 5 games of each series, I did not miss a single game. So that's pretty frustrating, even though I had a really high success rate.
Well, hey, you know what? High success rate's everything in betting, right? You don't want to. A lot of people ask me, it's like, what's the biggest key to betting? It's like, don't overload yourself, right? Don't bet 10 games just to bet 10 games. Like, bet the games that you feel comfortable with. So, I saw your win a lot. I saw G Money making money on G Money Mitch making money on TikTok. There you go.
Yeah. G Money making Mitch. Thank you, Tanner, for saying it 20 times.
There you go. Well, so Grant, the biggest thing I got to ask you about before we get into this Minnesota-Memphis game night is just the series price with the Mavericks at plus 220. I mean, I think that's kind of disrespectful. Granted, do they have the offense to keep up with the Suns? Probably not.
You think not?
I don't think so. What do you think? But I like them at plus 220. I think that's why they're plus 220, don't you think?
I think they're at plus 220 because the odds makers are falling victim to what happened in the regular season. If you tuned into these playoffs, first of all, the Mavericks won 2 out of the 3 games without Luka. I know they won as soon as they got him back, but I don't really care. It's his first game back off of an injury. He scored 30 points, but he was really inefficient. So put that aside, the Mavericks really dominated that series against the Jazz. And you go over to the other side. Yeah, Devin Booker got hurt, and I know he had 30 points in the first half when he did get hurt, but the Pelicans gave those guys a really good fight, and the Pelicans were playing 3 rookies in crunch time, so they had no experience whatsoever. It took Mikal Bridges coming out with a 31-point game and Chris Paul having an all-time flawless game, arguably the best, if you want to break it down, arguably the best playoff game a player has ever played. And I'm not talking about matchup. I'm just talking about performance. But and they still barely won that game. So I think the Suns have an awful lot to worry about, especially with this new look offense the Mavs are running. It's not all Luka like it was in the regular season. Jalen Brunson, Spencer Dinwiddie have been huge contributors. I think they're in trouble, honestly. I would take the Mavs straight up.
Yeah, I mean, plus 220 to win the series is great. They're 6-point underdogs in that first game, so I think that's very interesting. I think Bucks plus 168 also has a lot of value against the Celtics. Granted, the Celtics are playing great, and they've been my biggest surprise of the playoffs so far. Granted, I am a Boston fan, but I did not expect the Celtics to be playing this good. And even when we had a conversation probably a few months ago when Boston was like really struggling before they hit their stride, like we did not expect this from this team at all.
No, not at all. It's funny. I got a Tanner, you know how it works in this business, right? Obviously, you can say something and it might have been totally true at the time, and 2 years later, taken out of context, you look like the biggest fool ever, right? It
Yeah,
happens. It happens sometimes. Last year, I wrote an article called "NBA Players That Fans Want to Ship Overseas," and do you know who I had for the Boston Celtics? I had Grant Williams, who has been outstanding in these playoffs. And
unreal.
when I wrote it at the time, I was right. He was making less than 40% of his field goals, shooting like 28% from three. Couldn't stay in front of anybody. Looks clunky, but he's been outstanding. That whole team has been really good. But I don't know if I'm a contrarian today. I think the Bucks are going to win that series, and I may change my mind seeing how they play without Chris Middleton. And it's nothing against the Celtics. It's more just a credit to Giannis. I think he is far and away the best player in the NBA. I don't really see a way for the Celtics to slow him down, which means they're going to have to outscore him. And to be honest, the Bucks won they won the finals last year. They've built the trust the Celtics haven't, despite being looking so impressive.
I don't know though. The Celtics team, there's just something special about him. Jason Tatum is playing outside of his mind right now. And I mean, they're playing great on defense. I mean, that's the reason they were able to sweep the Nets, I believe. So it should be good. And then that final series price we got here, Sixers plus 150 compared to the Heat at minus 178. Series spread for the Heat at minus 1.5 is plus 120. So if you like the Heat to close it out before 7 games, you'd take them that. So Grant, who are you looking at in this series?
Heat, definitely. I don't think the Heat are going to make the finals, much less win the finals. I think that in the NBA playoffs, it's good to have a bench, but it's really bad to rely on the bench. And I know that Jimmy Butler has been outstanding. He's looking like he did when the Heat made that run to the championship against the Lakers in the bubble. But, you've got guys like Duncan Robinson coming off the bench, Tyler Hero coming off the bench. If Miami doesn't have those guys scoring, they kind of have no chance. And like I said, it's a problem to rely on your bench players. You need your stars to step up. And yes, Jimmy has done that. But let's say Jimmy equals Embiid, then you got to go to Bam. And as good as Bam is, he's not the prototypical player that you want in this NBA to lead your franchise. The Sixers, I know they're very inconsistent, but on any given night, they have Maxey, they have Harden, they have Tobias Harris. They even have Danny Green, who every once in a while gets hot. So I would look out for those. I think those guys. I think it's kind of a matchup here between two teams that are almost you don't quite know what you're going to get from them. And on the pure fact that Miami has been playing better defense, I would go for Miami. But to be honest, I don't like either team to. Whichever team wins this, I don't think they're going to win the next series.
No, I mean, that's what we saw last night with the Sixers, how inconsistent they are. Last night, they looked tremendous. The night before, the past couple games before, they didn't look good at all. I think whoever wins this Bucks-Celtics series is going to have a clear path to the championship, but we will see there. So, Grant, we're talking futures right now, but we got a game tonight, 1 game left. Is this going to be the final game that shuts the door? Last night, all 3 teams shut the door. Are the Grizzlies going to get the job done tonight? Minnesota's trying to force Game 7. Memphis is minus 1.5, money line minus 120. The total set at 229. And get this, Memphis 11-4 straight up in their past 15 games against Minnesota. So they have owned the Timberwolves. You told me after Minnesota won Game 1 that would be their final win. That did not happen. But overall, whenever Memphis is down double digits in the fourth quarter, you should live bet them because they're probably going to come back.
Yeah, I misspoke on that one. And if in the interest of full disclosure, I firmly believe the Timberwolves should have won this series 4-1. The fact that it's 3-2 in Memphis's favor is honestly just a travesty for that team, for that fan base, for that whole area. Minnesota is full of some of the biggest goofs. They make dumb decisions. And, I don't want to attack their personal intelligence, but from what they've displayed on the court, they are stupid basketball players. And that's just all this series is broken down to. Like we were just talking about, it took Chris Paul having arguably the greatest individual playoff performance ever to win that game. It took Ja Morant dropping 18 points in the final 6 minutes of the fourth quarter, including a buzzer-beating game winner for Memphis to win. And that's not the first time. The Timberwolves blew two 20-point leads in the same game earlier in this series. So I don't understand how the Grizzlies are up 3-2 in this series, even though I did pick them to win it convincingly before it started. But if I'm being totally honest, I have to take the Timberwolves. As frustrating as they are,
Wow.
They have outplayed the Grizzlies in almost every game. If they are, they're playing at F intelligence level right now. If they go to a D, they would have already won the series, and they can win tonight's game.
Yeah, well, I mean, I look at it like I trust teams that can win the fourth quarter. I know Minnesota's outplayed them, but what we've seen from Memphis, I mean, Memphis outscored them 37-24 in the fourth quarter, ended with the Ja Morant game-winning layup. He's sensational, by the way, and we argue about this. I think he holds on the damn ball too much. I think he tries to do too much, even though you're like, oh, he had 8-9 assists. I'm like, well, there were still moments he should have passed. But anyways, we'll save that for another time. Gloria's coming in here. Hey, how you doing, Grant? Gloria is back. OMG, that was a Pepto-Bismol game for sure, and she had Timberwolves too. So
is Gloria to frequently tune into your show, Tanner?
This is the first show on here. This is our first live show on Bet the Day. So Gloria's all over though. Gloria's just a machine. As much content as she can get in, she gets it in. So gotta love that. But Gloria, we appreciate you here. Thanks to everyone for coming on right now. I mean, this is awesome. We got a lot of engagement. We still got a lot to talk about. So if you guys have any bets tonight that you're looking at, drop them in the comments. We'll get Grant's opinion on them. But we're gonna start with the spread here. So would you take Minnesota plus 1.5 to take the extra protection, or are you gonna go money line, just take them outright?
Oh, I mean, like I just said, they are the biggest idiots in the NBA right now. I'm definitely taking them plus 1.5 because knowing them, something ridiculous is going to happen. Like Anthony Edwards is going to be one rebound off a triple-double. He'll shoot it at his own basket to try to get the extra rebound and stat pad, and it'll go in, and the Grizzlies will win. So something ridiculous might happen. So you got to give yourself that extra 1.5. But if my life was on the line, I would take the Timberwolves.
Yeah, I mean, I'm going to go with Memphis because I think they'll pull it out in the fourth quarter. I think based on what we saw last night, teams are going to shut the door. I think the total is really interesting in this game. Set at 229. The under is 5-2. Now, all we've heard in their past 7 games, all we've heard about is how explosive these offenses are, and we saw it in game 1. Game 1, I took the under or whatever it was at, and it just ripped my heart out. This game, they've been going under a little bit. Defense has been there. Guys have been missing shots. I'm going with the under tonight, 229, just based on what we've seen in the past few games. I don't know what your take is on that, but what are you going with?
Yeah, I'm going with the under too. 2 top scoring teams in the league. So conventional wisdom said the series was going to go over. But from the start, I've been saying it's going under. 2 very young teams. The stars on those teams are unproven in the playoffs. I mean, Anthony Edwards, this is his first time in the playoffs. I don't actually know if Towns has been in the playoffs before, but if he has, it hasn't been anything memorable. So yeah, you've got to go for the under, especially with the way that the defenses have been cued in. I think Minnesota especially has done a really good job getting to Ja. Even though he had 30 points in that last game, he was very inefficient. It all came in a flurry right at the end of the game. So yeah, I think we're looking at somewhere around a 215 point total in tonight's game.
Now, I mean, I'm a big jaw guy. And by the way, whoever made the call the other night, the jawbreaker on that dunk he had in the fourth quarter, that was like awesome. But I will say this. I don't know why he doesn't pass the ball and why he tries to do these spectacular dunks all the time, Grant. And you're like, oh my God, he's passing the ball just enough. He's doing a great job. Like, no, I want to hear why you think that he should not pass the ball as much.
Well, so here's the thing with Ja. So when Ja was in college, he always had this incredible athleticism. If you looked up the mock drafts, it would say there's this skinny guy, 6'3", 165 pounds from Murray State, who's supposed to go second overall. But people didn't really get to watch his games until the tournament. He had a really big game against Marquette. I think he might have had a triple-double in that one, and then he had a huge highlight dunk, and that's where he really started to get that national attention. But for those people who didn't see him at Murray State, he was playing a lot like the kind of Chris Paul pass-first Rajon Rondo. Obviously, he's a better shooter than him, but he was totally pass-first. So when he came into the league, his rookie year especially, he looked like he was bringing back that true point guard era. I think either he has been told or he has realized that, A, he has an incredible skill set, and B, in today's game, you need point guards that can score the ball. So I think he has really shifted his focus to that, but he is still what I consider to be an excellent facilitator. He plays with that he has that athleticism where defenses have to swarm to him inside. Think of like a Russell Westbrook, but he's not as turnover prone for the most part. So I think he's doing a good job balancing it, to be honest. Sometimes he might be selfish, but in the playoffs, you want your stars to be selfish.
Yeah, definitely. And you talk about a point guard that needs to score. D'Angelo Russell, he's not been able to do that in the series at all. I got the under 16.5 on his point total. I think if he comes through tonight, they have a realistic chance, but he's just been atrocious from the field. What do you think of him?
What do I think of him? I think he has some cool tattoos, but I've never been a huge fan of him as a player, to be completely honest. I saw a great tweet the other day that said deloading has been loading for 7 years. For anybody who doesn't know, deloading is his nickname. He's what Tanner, I've said this for so long. I hate betting on players or teams that you can't trust.
Yeah.
And it's not because I'm not saying D'Angelo Russell is bad. I'm saying some nights he's bad, some nights he's good. And I don't know what's going to happen. So if push comes to shove, I would go under, but I just don't like betting on him. I don't like betting on the Timberwolves in general, which is funny when we get into some of my best bets.
There have been so many teams, though, I mean, across all sports this year. Like, I don't know what I'm going to get, and I hate that. And I really do. Like, last night, the Sixers, I felt really good about them. But honestly, when the game started, I'm like, this could be the first New York Yankees of the NBA to lose, go up 3-0 and lose 4 games. Like, I thought that was realistic last night until they just took off and started playing great, right? Even the Celtics back in the day before they were just winning machines, they were inconsistent. There's so many inconsistent teams, so many inconsistent players. But I got a few players that are pretty consistent. I got some good props for you. Karl Anthony Towns, over 25.5 points tonight. He had 29 in game 1. Now, he had 2 outlier games where he was just atrocious, right? But 28, 33, and 29. I like him to go over 25.5, especially in elimination game night. I think he steps up big. I got D'Angelo Russell under 16.5 as well. I know you got some props in there as well. But Karl Anthony Towns over 25.5. What do you think about that?
Well, what I can't stop thinking about is the fact he managed to sneak in a New York Yankees diss into a Minnesota Timberwolves.
Before you got on the show, I was doing it before you weren't in the waiting room yet. I was doing it. I mean, as much as I can, there are so many Yankee fans that just hate me, and I know you're gonna, when we talk baseball here in a minute, you're probably gonna rip me about the Red Sox. It's where Padres jersey day. But like, am I that hateable, Grant? I'm just a fun-loving guy. I don't know why Yankee fans hate me so much. Anyways.
You don't know why Yankee. All right, you know what? You need to listen to some Michael Jackson. You need to start looking at the man in the mirror. Try to figure out why the Yankees fans hate you.
Yeah. But yeah. So, what do you think of Karl Anthony Towns tonight? I love the over just because it is an elimination game. You could also you could package it: points, rebounds, assists. I know you like him for 3-point land tonight. Over 3.5. But I like the points tonight. If you like the over 3.5 on his 3-point total, you gotta love over 25.5.
You're mixing in 2 of my bets here. It's Karl Anthony Towns at over 1.5, which is honestly one of the most absurd lines that I can remember seeing. Keep in mind, player totals are essentially spreads, right? The odds makers think this is right in the middle, so there's going to be even value on either side. Last I checked, this was bet up to -174. So everybody agrees with me that he is obviously going to make 2+3s in this series. And I know in two of the 5 games, like you said, Tanner, he was just really bad and he didn't. But what Cat has done lately is he's fallen in love with the 3-point shot, especially when he has these smaller guards switched onto him when Jaren Jackson's out with foul trouble. Steven Adams is out of the rotation because he isn't mobile enough on the perimeter. And you would think Cat would go inside and punish those guys, put his butt to him, turn around, jump hook, whatever. He's been staying on the outside, shooting over them, which I guess works, but it's not what you want. But either way, he's been doing it. So I think he's going to take at least 6 threes tonight. He's over a 40% shooter, so I think he should make at least 2 of those. And if you look at his regular season averages, there was not a single month where he did not average more than 1.5 threes per game. So that's my lock. Because of that, I would roll with yours, but I would put that as my personal secondary bet. I think the 3-pointers is a better one.
Yeah, I mean, I'll hammer Karl Anthony Towns on 3-pointers any day of the week. Anytime you can get a center that's like shooting 3-pointers and winning 3-point contests, like you got to ride with it. It's funny. One of the guys in here, Bryce Wemple, one of our content creators, he did a video on TikTok the other day about Jamarcus Russell, like being a 300-pound quarterback. Like that stuff just interests me. A 300-pound quarterback, a center that can shoot 3-pointers. You got to ride with it tonight.
Do you
Now,
remember? Do you
what?
remember the New York Giants backup quarterback that
The
was?
hefty lefty.
He used to come in just for quarterback sneaks. He was over 300 pounds too.
Yeah, I wish I could have been a 300-pound quarterback. So like that's kind of why I love those guys so much. And there's not many of them. There's really not. Now, Grant, we'll talk about you got Jaren Jackson under 5.5 rebounds here. I want to save that for a minute here. I want to go to Ja Morant, 27.5 points, plus 100. This is tough. He's only hit the total in 2 of 5. But as we said, the offense runs through him. I feel like he's a ball hog. If the shots are going in, he's going to take enough shots to score 27.5 points tonight. The question is, are they going to go in the hoop?
Yeah, I think that is an excellent breakdown of it. I'm going to be completely honest. I'm not confident. And it goes back to what I was saying. I don't like betting things that I don't know. I don't like betting uncertainties. I don't like betting gray areas. I think Ja Morant is an all-world talent. I think he's already becoming the face of the league. I think I broke down my player rankings. I tweeted them out 2 days ago. I think I had Ja Morant as the 11th or 12th best player in the league right now. So obviously I think very highly of him. As much as I love his spirit, and especially that fourth quarter, he's been so bothered by what the Timberwolves have done to him. Part of it, I think, is the fact he's 6'3", 170 pounds. I'm sure you can appreciate this, Tanner. I think he needs to get in the weight room a little bit. But, that's not an overnight fix. That's something that's going to take a whole offseason. So they've just been beating the hell out of him. I wouldn't be certain he does this, but at that value, it's not a bad bet. That's what I'll say. I don't love it, but it's definitely not a bad bet.
Yeah, the value is what makes it intriguing for me. But when he's only going over in 2 of 5 games so far, like you said, we want certainty, especially in player props, because player props are meant to limit liability, right? Like we're trying to bet on one player. We know what they're going to do. We know how teams defend them, right? They're going to try to shut down Ja Morant tonight. They can do that. They can win this game. So I'm going to say under 27.5 there, even though plus 100. At the under 27.5 is like minus 130, so the juice isn't as good, obviously. A little too high there for me.
Tanner,
but
you know what we could do? We can form a superstar parlay. Karl Anthony Towns to make 1-3, Ja Morant to score over 22.5, and you can probably get that from about minus 110, minus 120, and that is practically a guarantee.
Yeah, same game parlays. A lot of people hate on same game parlays. I don't know why. A lot of people hate on parlays. And like if you're doing a 3-leg parlay, you need to do 1 lock and then 2 picks that nothing's a lock, I guess, but 1 heavy favorite and then 2 games that, look good, but are minus 110, minus 120. You're going to get value there. I'm a big parlay guy. Are you, Grant? I don't know.
Yeah, absolutely. In some ways, I know this is counterintuitive because parlays, inherently you're increasing your risk, but It's actually the opposite. Sometimes you're decreasing your risk. Like I remember I got Marcus Smart to make 1-3 and Marcus Smart to record 3 assists for like plus 110. I said, This is so why would I risk Marcus Smart going 16 plus points when who knows if that's going to happen? But he's obviously going to make a 3. He's obviously going to get 3 assists. Why would I not do that for the same, if not better value? So no, I love 2-leg parlays. 2-leg parlays are my specialty.
Yeah, and there's so many parlays too, like with same game, like so many people trash same game parlays. And I'm like, I had a same game parlay during football season with the Buccaneers. I took Tom Brady adjusted passing total like over 200 or over 220, and then I took Bucks spread. So if the Bucks are going to cover a 10-point spread against the Giants, I think it was, or 9.5-point spread, Tom Brady's going to throw for over 200, and that just took it from minus 110 to like plus 150, right? Give me a little extra value there. So that's what you got to make safe decisions. You got to make calculated risk, obviously. Gloria is a big round robin person. I've never really gotten into the round robins as much. But I mean, I hear a lot of people do like them. And if I'm going to bet those, I'm going to bet a parlay.
Yeah, I'm with you. I've never gotten huge into round robins.
So Jaren Jackson under 5.5. That's your last pick tonight, Grant. Give me your explanation for that, and then we'll move on to baseball. Talk a little Phillies Mets here.
Yeah, I got to keep it in basketball as long as I can. You know me. Jaren Jackson under 5.5 rebounds here. First of all, last I checked, I was around plus 110. I don't know what it's been bet to, but good value, even better than your Ja Morant points total. Jaren Jackson, one of the most frustrating things about him is that he has all the talent. He's an incredible interior defender, very similar to Brook Lopez in the fact that you would expect big, tall guys who are great at blocking shots and bothering players at the rim. You would think they would be excellent rebounders, but they're actually terrible. Now, he's not as bad as Lopez, but he still isn't good. He averaged 5.8 rebounds in the regular season for a 6'11" power forward who plays sometimes at center, averaging 35 minutes a night. That is just unacceptable in my eyes. He has only gone under 2 out of 5 times in this series, but one thing I'm keen in on is the fact that he has been in foul trouble a lot. He fouled out of the last 2 games, and in those games, he only averaged 20 and a half minutes per game. That's not much time to get a lot of rebounds for a guy who was averaging 5.8 rebounds in 35 minutes. Now you're asking him to get 5.5 plus in 20 minutes. On top of that, he's been shooting the ball really poorly. He's making some silly mistakes. That means his performance is down. Coach is more likely to pull him out of the game, again, lowering his minutes. Tanner, why do we like running backs in fantasy football? Because they get volume, right? Jaren Jackson is guaranteed to have a low volume, which is why I love the under on his rebounds.
Now, I hate rebounding props, Grant. I'm going to be honest. Like, I despise them because you just don't know what way the ball is going to fall. You could take the biggest man in the world. You could stick him there. He could have 2 rebounds in the night, depending on where the ball falls, right? So that's why I really have a problem with rebounding props, but I'm going to ride with you. I believe it. And I recommend that the viewers ride with Grant because he's making money here on NBA. Now we're going to move to baseball. We're going to move to my favorite sport. Friday baseball betting. There's 2 big series coming up this weekend. We're going to break down here a little bit. Phillies, Mets, and then Astros, Blue Jays. That's going to be a fun one. Phillies, Mets. The Mets, like, we used to trash the Mets, and everyone used to trash the Mets. I saw a video the other day on TikTok, and they were talking about, it was like interviewing a fan, and they asked the fan, like, what's the worst time of the year for Mets fans? And he goes, May through September, because, you know, they're just heartbreakers, right? This Mets team looks a little different right now. They're minus 124 tonight against the Phillies. Aaron Nola versus
Tyler McGill.
Tyler McGill tonight. McGill's been sensational. Aaron Nola's been okay, right? Like, but the over is only at 6.5 here. I'm tempted to take the over. I don't know what your thoughts are on that.
Yeah, Tanner, it really does not matter who's playing. If the over is 6 or 6.5, I'm going over. I looked at your bet sheet a couple of days ago, and I saw you had the same thing. I think it was another Mets game, if I'm not mistaken.
It was Scherzer. Yeah, it was when Scherzer. And it was the game that they scored, 7 runs in the bottom of the 8th and the top of the 9th. And that just, I didn't even watch the game because I'm like, this bet lost and didn't. You know, it's sports betting, though.
Hey, Tanner, if it happened in the bottom of the 8th, it happened, and that's all that matters.
There you go.
I mean, to be fair, that was expected, right? It's Scherzer. He's probably not going to give up a bunch of runs, but the relievers are going to. But anyway, I mean, back into this series, right? The Phillies just swept the Rockies in 4 games, and like we used to make fun of the Mets. I don't even know if we used to make fun of the Rockies. We didn't even really talk about them. You got the Dodgers, you got the Giants, and to a lesser extent, you had the Padres. Why would we spend time talking about the Rockies? Well, they've been pretty decent this season. I think they might only be a game or 2 over 500, but if you watch them play, like, they have spirit and they can compete in that division. No means am I picking the win, but they have a solid club, right? So 4-game sweep is pretty impressive for them. And the Mets, I mean, to their credit, they have the best record in baseball right now, do they not?
The Mets do have the best record in baseball right now. They're playing sensational. They are the new Los Angeles Dodgers of the National League East. That's what I'll say. They're the East Coast Dodgers right now, at least, until they start breaking my heart. But I mean, you just look how good they're playing. Frankie Lindor, 4 bombs, 273. Pete Alonso, 3 nukes, 260. And that's what Pete Alonso is going to do average-wise. I mean, this team is just so good right now. It's scary. Like, it feels different. And I know Mets fans are like, cautiously optimistic. Like, it feels different, but we've had our hearts broken so many times. I like this Mets team. Like, I'll tell you what, next time I go to Citi Field, I'm rocking a Pete Alonso jersey. That's what I'm saying.
I'm sorry. If you've met cautiously optimistic Mets fans, you and I know very different Mets fans because they have been all in my face. Maybe it's because we're in the DMV area. We've got the Nationals here, but
I'm cautiously Mets fans are cautiously optimistic, right? Yeah, they're very excited, but still cautious because they know how, like, watch Jacob deGrom come back first start, Tommy John surgery. Like, that's how this team kind of goes. If they get Jacob DeGrom, this is what they're thinking. Okay, once we get Jacob deGrom back, we're going to be that much better. And it's like, but at the same time too, it's the Mets. We got to keep that in mind. But again, this Mets team was in the World Series not that long ago. So again, other franchises have had it a lot worse than the New York Mets.
Yeah, you know what's funny, Tanner, is actually the Mets, this season's Mets to me are the opposite of last year's Red Sox, and I think you'll appreciate that. The Mets have this very consistent pitching staff, and it's like, okay, the batters are doing well right now. Are they going to crumble? And if they do, the season's kind of over. For you, is the opposite, right? Like you had your guys delivering at the plate, especially when Schwarber came in at the deadline, and it was okay. Please, Chris Sale, we have you, but we need Pivetta, we need Eovaldi, we need somebody to step up. And once they stumble, the season's over. So the Mets are kind of looking at through the opposite end of the spectrum. It's just, are they going to stumble or not? And who knows? I mean, Frankie Lindor, this is the Frankie Lindor they thought they were getting. Who knows if he's here to stay or not? But if he is here to stay, then they have a really good chance of making some noise.
Well, yeah, I mean, last year they were just Frankie Lindor was terrible, and that was a big reason they struggled. Guys, if you have any good baseball bets for tonight, we got a good amount of people on here. Just drop them in the comments section. We'll get to them. But yeah, I got to take the over of 6.5 in this game. I mean, this isn't like Max Scherzer on the mound. Well, like I said the last time Tyler McGill pitched, we're treating McGill like he's Jacob deGrom, and I'm not okay with that, right? Even the Phillies, I mean, Castellanos has got a 400 OBP. Harper's hitting great right now. And then you got the Mets, Frankie Lindor and Pete Alonso. That's enough to bring this game over. So I'm going to ride with the over in this game. It's like, I got to go with it. I'm going to take Mets money line too, because I think they're at home. I think it's a good spot. The Phillies are inconsistent. We talk about inconsistency in NBA. Same thing in baseball, right? I want to bet on a team that's consistent. The Mets have done that. But I like the over, and Mets money line could be a good same game parlay bet there.
Yeah, I'm with you on the over. And McGill has given up 6 earned in his last 12 innings. So great ERA, but last 2 starts weren't necessarily amazing. So definitely the over.
Yeah, so Terry coming in. I don't think Scherzer will let them stumble. I don't think he will either. But again, Scherzer's also, how old is Scherzer?
37.
37. Like, that's a little scary. When you're talking about like in his last spring training start, he's like, I want to hit 100 pitches. Like, you gotta manage his workload there for sure. Guy LaDouche coming in. He is a Mets fan. I know that. I like Syndergaard and Angels versus the White Sox. So that's going to be my nerfy of the day, which we'll get to there in a little bit. But I love that tonight with Syndergaard. I wish you guys wouldn't have given up Syndergaard. I wish you would have tried to keep him. But anyways.
Tanner, one thing about Scherzer.
Yep.
If DeGrom comes back and, he gets injured or, he isn't quite himself, Scherzer is no longer Scherzer. Scherzer is DeGrom. So you're going to need somebody to fill that Scherzer role. They brought Scherzer in as the person who brings them over the top. But if he's simply filling the vacancy, they need another guy to step up in that rotation. So that's what really the season is going to boil down to in my eyes.
Yeah, and the thing I love about Steve Cohen, he's going to pay guys to do that. Like, if the deadline comes up, he will go out and he will get the big name pitcher. If they need the big name pitcher, he's going to go get it. So that's very, very good to see out of the Mets right now. They're paying money to win games, which is good. That's how baseball works now. The more you pay, the more likely you are to win, except when you're the Tampa Bay Rays, even though not this season. They're struggling a little bit. Astros plus 102, Blue Jays minus 120, totals at 8.5 tonight. Grant, I love the over, but here's what I'm going to say about this. There have been so many times where on paper, the over looks amazing, and then these offenses just drop the ball. It's probably because spring training was shortened tonight. But if there's a game that screams over, I know it's 8.5, it's this one. Jose Urquidy, 5.52 ERA, 1.36 whip. UC Kikuchi, 10 walks in 12 innings with a 1.75 whip. I know the season's young, but these guys have not been able to locate. They're giving up bombs. Vladdy is questionable tonight, which kind of scares me with the over. But the pitching matchup-wise, this game screams over, and I do somewhat trust both these offenses. Yesterday, the Pirates-Brewers game, I don't know if you were in the waiting room when I was ranting about that, but they screwed me because I don't trust their offenses, even though the pitching matchup was there for the over. So, with that being said, Grant, who are you taking in this game, and what do you like the total to be?
Well, I'm taking the Blue Jays. That's the easy answer. As far as the over-under, I am 100% with you. And I got lucky twice. Well, I don't want to say I got lucky. I got smart twice last week. There were 2 games. One was the Blue Jays, Red Sox. I forget what the other one was. But it was exactly what you were saying. This game has to go over. And I bet the under, and I was right both times. So I totally understand what you're saying here. The Blue Jays, as they've hit the most home runs in the league. They're either first or second in total scoring. I think they're first. But at the same time, they have dropped duds in this season. It's not like they're scoring a minimum 6 every game and, they hit 15 2 or 3 times a week. Like, they have had games where they don't score. They score 1 run. They score 2 runs. So this is exactly what you're talking about. I think you're on base saying it could go under as much as you want it to go over. But like you, I think the pitchers are going to lead it to the over more so than the batters. But yeah, it's a weird thing that's going on. It could be the longer, the lockout, could be the shortened spring training, whatever the reason may be. The over under has been a little wonky so far, but like you, I'm going with the over.
Yeah. So yeah, like yesterday, 7.5 Red Sox, Blue Jays. Red Sox lost 1-0. That was not good, Grant. That was not good. But you know what?
Is it my time to tell you the Red Sox just aren't that good anymore?
I was teeing you up for that because I knew you wanted to do that. But yeah, the Red Sox are not good right now. But just wait. Like Yankee fans, I got so many Yankee fans on TikTok come in my comment section saying, "Oh, you're not really making fun of the Yankees now. You're not making fun of the Yankees now. You're not making." Well, guys, I don't need to, because when October rolls around, the Red Sox they'll make fun of you for me. How about that? Just like when we beat you in the wild card game last year. Got a comment coming in. Kind of like the Red Sox tonight. If you don't like the Red Sox tonight against the Baltimore Orioles, we have a major problem, people. Like Bradley, I'm high on the give me Red Sox run line tonight. Give me Red Sox run line. If you don't like them tonight, I don't know. Grant, I don't know what this team has come to.
Have some courage, Tanner. Red Sox spread.
Red Sox
it's spread. The Orioles. You can give them 2 runs.
The Orioles are a pesky team, because I look back at last season when we played the Orioles in that series that we needed to win at the end of the year. We just didn't do a damn thing in Camden Yards. And it kind of scares me, honestly. But the Yankees took care of the Orioles. So if the Yankees take care of the Orioles, I believe in the Red Sox can do it, because the Red Sox are just a better franchise overall. We've won more World Series since 2009. Anyways, Grant, thanks for joining me. Any final thoughts for the show before we sign off here? Before you sign off?
It's great to see your beautiful face, Tanner. It's been too long.
It has been too long. So we'll stay in touch. Grant's going to have a standing spot on the show one day a week. We haven't figured out what day that is. But Grant, thanks for joining me. We'll have you back here soon. So guys, we're going to finish up here with my best bets and our Nerfy of the day for Angels White Sox. I love this Nerfy. Absolutely love this Nerfy today. So yesterday we hit our Nerfy, Red Sox versus Blue Jays. If you don't know what a Nerfy is, it's no runs first inning. It's the greatest sweat you're ever going to get in a baseball game. I guarantee you that. Your heart is pounding. You feel like you're ready to have a heart attack for 15 minutes, and it's awesome. If you hit. If you lose, it's not great. So our Nerfy today, Syndergaard versus Giolito, Angels versus White Sox, 2-1-2 for Thor this season. Giolito's got a 1-1-3, but both whips are solid. Thor's whips under 1, Giolito's right around 1, so I really like that. And both offenses, the Angels have a pretty good offense, but they don't score till late in games usually. They're winning about 3 to 4. They're winning with 3 to 4 runs. The White Sox are just terrible right now. So with that being said, I'm going to take the Nerfy in that game. I love that so much today. We'll see if it hits. I like the O's pitcher here. Sox don't really know him, so it could be interesting. Yeah, I mean, but again, Orioles are, like I said, guys, the best part about baseball betting is the value that we have with underdogs. You can find underdogs, that, like, for example, the Orioles are the worst team in baseball, one of the worst teams in baseball. They're going to win 50-something games this season. So if you bet them on the days they're going to win, if you find those spots, those good spots for them, you are going to make money. It's that simple. But at the same time, too, most people go with the favorites on these days. So that also helps you if you're fading the public and going with the Orioles today. Listen, I don't blame you if you're betting the Orioles today. This Red Sox team is atrocious right now, and they're not hitting the ball. The Orioles could steal one on them. If realistically, the Red Sox are going to go to Camden Yards for a 4-game series. They should win 3 of 4. They should win 3 of 4. I can't imagine they sweep. It's hard to sweep over 4-game series. I believe it's like 17%. If they split, it was not a good weekend for the Red Sox. If they beat the Orioles in 3 of 4 games, they had a very good weekend. MLB is number 1 sport for underdogs. Yeah, it is. It's great because, like I said, Terry, you're going to take the Baltimore Orioles, and underdogs going to win 50-something games, right? So underdogs are great. You just got to pick the right spots for them. So anyways, this Nerfy, guys, are you riding with it? Let me know in the comments section. Let me know on TikTok as well. I'll post all the stuff later on there. Then best bets. I got a couple best bets today. We're going back to our run line bets with the New York Yankees. Yankees -1.5 versus the Royals. Now, I do not love Garrett Cole. I'm not a big Garrett Cole guy. I am a big Nestor Cortez guy. This is their new ace right now. So I'm going to ride with them today. He's been pitching unreal right now. Chris Bubbick's also on the mound for the Royals. He's only pitched 9 innings this season, but about 9-10 innings. But at the same time, too, 7 innings. 9 walks in 7 innings. He's got a whip of 3. If you don't know what whips is, how many base runners you allow per inning. He's just been atrocious, right? The Yankees offense is feasting right now. They should have a field day there. I like them to win by 1.5 against the Royals, especially too being on the road tonight. Now, I'm going to do something that I don't usually do in this next bet. I'm going to take Dodgers run line versus the Tigers. The Dodgers are home tonight. and Cody Bellinger's hitting the baseball, so that helps. But the Dodgers are home. And when you're home, you lose yourself one more at bat, right? Like, so for example, if the Dodgers are leading in the ninth inning, the bottom of the ninth, they're not going to get that at bat. If they're away, they're guaranteed that at bat. That's more opportunities to go up by 2 runs. I believe Terry was talking to me about this. You know, we don't like betting run line teams, run line favorites at home because you're giving up one at bat. It's Terry coming in. You've been looking at my picks, haven't you? No, I haven't, Terry. No, I haven't. You've been looking at my picks. Come on now. But yeah, Dodgers 1.5 tonight. Cody Bellinger's hitting the baseball. Freddie Freeman's been fantastic. Trey Turner already has 16 RBIs. His team is so good right now. So I'm going to ride with run line, even though they are at home tonight. And then Tyler Anderson obviously has been money over 12.2 innings. He's going for them. He's pitching as Tyler Alexander, who has really struggled. So those are my 2 best bets today. I'll have some more picks posted, guys, in our Discord as well as on TikTok. So make sure you check those out. And then finally, big ticket item. Last night, the NFL draft happened. And I'm going to be honest, I don't think NFL draft betting should exist. I think it's the worst thing in the world. It's good up to like the combine. Once the combine, you give it like a week after the combine, then the market should shut off. They should not allow betting the day before the NFL draft. Drake put out a bet for a receiver, London Drake out of USC, to be the first receiver taken. On most big boards, he was number 3. Drake knew something. Drake definitely knew something. Now, granted, $100,000 is nothing to Drake, but he knew something. He won $235,000 because the Atlanta Falcons chose Drake at the 8th overall pick. He was the 3rd receiver on most big boards. Granted, he is 6'4". But he was the 3rd receiver on most big boards. I think Drake knew something. I think there's a lot of inside information that happens with this NFL draft information. But at the same time, too, congratulations to Drake. You hit a big ticket there. Okay, Dodgers coming off a loss too. Dodgers are coming off 2 losses. 2 losses, people. So you got to hammer them. Terry coming in. I will take the home team favorite run line if the money line juice is too much. And I think you have to, right? I mean, I'm not going to take the Dodgers at minus 270 today. Just not going to happen. But yeah, anyways, guys, Drake knew something. I think NFL draft betting is rigged. Another thing too, like Aiden Hutchinson was the favorite up until like 2 days ago. And the Jaguars made a very bad move, I think, going with Trayvon Walker. Just because the guy ran a 4.51, but the production's not there. You look at what Aiden Hutchinson did at Michigan, and granted, I did have Hutchinson at plus 300 on a ticket, so I'm a little angry about that. But all these analysts in their mock drafts had Hutchinson going number 1, even though Vegas had Trayvon Walker at minus 400. So when you look at that, like there's too many problems here. So that's my biggest pet peeve for the day. I don't like NFL draft betting. I will do it, but you got to get your bets in early, and then everything changes because they shouldn't let people bet the NFL draft up until 5 o'clock the night before. It's just wrong because there's so much inside information going on. Like Drake knew, Champagne Poppy knew that Drake London was probably going to go number 1 receiver wise to the Falcons. So that does it, guys. Thanks for joining me. Really good crowd on here today. So I do appreciate that for our first show. We'll be here every day. Some days we'll have guests. Other days we won't. We'll just be talking, interacting, talking picks, guys. So very excited about that. Let's see. Threw all 3 NBA picks straight up and into a parlay last night. People sleeping on the Sixers. Love that. Congratulations. Big time there. That was a huge win for us last night. But yeah, guys. So good show, Tanner Terry. I appreciate it. Yeah, so guys, all my picks will be on Discord. As you know, guys, join Discord. That link's in the description below. Our TikToks are linked. We have 2 TikToks. We have a betting TikTok. We have a sports TikTok. Join both of those, guys. And then, yeah, we'll be back here tomorrow with another show, guys. So I hope you enjoyed it. Thanks for joining me. That was our first episode of Bet the Day. We'll be back tomorrow for April 30th, guys. Have a good day. Good luck with your bets, and we'll talk to you soon. YouTube Wilcox. Great show. Like the information. Appreciate it. See you guys soon.